Hi everybody, I'm Jimmy and welcome back to Jimmy Does Knitting. This is a podcast where I pick a topic related to my knitting world and we go in on it. Today we are going to be discussing my stash. I don't really have much of a stash. We'll talk about my approach to it, but I need your help, so comment below. This would be a live stream if I think anybody would attend, but it's not. So, very curious to what you have to say. But before that, let's go over some admin. I am Jimmy Does Knitting on Instagram and Ravelry. You can catch me there. I'm also Jimmy Does Knitting on Discord. I don't really have anything going up, but if you want to hit me up, go for it. We'll see what happens. And yeah, I am a knitter in Amsterdam. It is sunny today. It is nice. It is warm. Usually when it's sunny, it's like freezing, but today it's like pretty okay. So we're taking it. I've done a sculpt class. I feel hench. Today, we just have a lot. So let me talk about my general approach to stash, and then we can go from there. So typically what I do is I buy per project, and then whatever I have left over is my stash. I'm not a big stash guy. There are a couple of exceptions, which we will see, but in general, it's not really a thing. I think now if I see a sweater's quantity of black yarn, I would get it, because I know I'm going to knit it up, and undyed natural fibers that are really unique. I think that those are what I would buy without thinking too much about it, but other than that, we're not so much a stash guy. So, like I said, we have projects that I have in stash that I'm just not knitting up, and then I have project quantities of things that I don't know what to do with, so I need your help with. And yeah, I think that's what we're going to cover today. And I have some examples. I'll show you all the yarn, not all of it, but I'll show you one piece of the yarn, and then we will go from there. Is that all the admin? I think that's all their admin. First off, I want to talk about this scarf that I made. This is the Gaca scarf by Atelier Cliche, and I have been wearing the bejesus out of it this winter. I mean, this will probably come out late February, early March, but I love this scarf. I love it, I love it, I love it. And what I did is I bought Plutolopi for it, which was not the one in the pattern for it, but they gave it as an option. And I knit it held with a strand of drops mohair. And what that's supposed to do, according to Inga from Knitting Traditions, is add stability, give some strength, and make it so things don't pill as much. And it was a really enjoyable knitting experience. This is my second version of it, so I knew that I liked it. And with the mohair, it made it so much easier because unspun is so delicate. The unspun in question is hiding. Black Plutolopi that I got at a local thing. It is Icelandic wool, unspun, 100% wool. 100 grams is 300 meters. And so it's said to do 2.5 balls for the scarf, and I ended up using 1.5. So I have another scarf quantity of this, but I didn't want to hold it with mohair. So this is the project that I did where I was I'm never using mohair again. And that I know I use cheap mohair. But I just don't like how it's wearing, and I don't like how it feels on my neck. I really don't like how it feels around my neck. I'm not a sensitive wool person, but this is just not great. What I typically do is I wear it with a hoodie and then I wrap it around the hoodie. Then it's fine. But if I put it under the hoodie, it's too itchy. So I want to remake this because I have leftover yarn. And what happened was there was a yarn store in Amsterdam that closed, and it's not my favorite yarn store, and they had a bunch of commercial yarns, which I'm not knocking. I use a lot of commercial yarns, and they had but they're brands that I never heard of. They don't even have Katya or Fonty. They're just weird ones. I'm not really quite sure. So they closed, and I was ooh, I'm gonna go to the yarn store and get a deal. And the answer was nothing was on sale. They closed in 2 days, but everything was full price. I'm not really quite sure. There's a reason why they went under. But they did have some yarn. I'm trying not to crinkle so much. Okay, we're back. I have found it. It is this cool wool lace by Lana Grossa, and it's just a virgin merino. It's 400 meters per 50 grams, so it's like this lace weight wool. I think that's even 2 strands. But I'm gonna hold this with the Pluto Lopi. Now I was gonna do Iron Bond, which is like East Texas version, which also produced Pluto Lopi of lace. But I saw this and I was like, it's a local yarn store going out of business. I know that like one ball should pretty much do it, so I will do this with the Pluto Lopi, and then we'll make another Gaca scarf. So that is plan number 1. Plan number 2, I'm looking around. I have this Cascade 220, and I ordered this off of Lovecrafts. It's like not available in Europe, but for some reason Lovecrafts in the UK had it, and it was actually pretty affordable, relatively. So I got like a sweater's quantity worth of these, but like a cabled sweater's quantities worth of these, because I wanted to do the Jimmy Does Diamonds pattern. So for those of you that don't know, I have this pattern of twisted stitches that I'm obsessed with. I made a cowl both in DK and worsted, and I have a hat. I have a hat with it, and I want to make a sweater out of it. So I've been hemming and hawing about the design a little bit. I know that Anna and Heidi Pickles have something very similar in terms of a stitch pattern. You can go and check it out. Their patterns are not, I would not recommend their patterns, but if you want to scratch that itch with that. Anyway, so I'm going to be making the Jimmy Does Diamond sweater with these, and I've just had this in my stash and I've been avoiding this project and casting it on. I think it's because it's a lot of math. What I want to do is like a pieced sweater with some interesting construction details that might be a little bit more difficult, and I just haven't had the headspace for the math. So I just need to suck it up, put on some big boy panties, and make the Jimmy Does Diamond sweater, which I'm very much looking forward to with this. The next project I have in terms of project quantities of yarn is onion nettle sock yarn. I made a drop stitch sort of jumper, like summer slutty-ish long sleeve thing out of this last year, and I loved it. But I just want some slutty summer cables. I had an old cabled sweater that I made out of a Tencel yarn that like shredded in about 2 seconds, but I love having like the idea of an Aran sweater but knit at like a fingering weight yarn with a loose gauge, and it just is going to be beautiful, and that's what I want. And like slightly see-through so you can see all my tattoos and all of that. So I have this onion nettle sock yarn. I have a sweater's quantity worth of this. I'm going to be making my own Aran pattern for it, and I think I'm going to make a video just talking you through like what I did and how I did it. It's going to be seamed because you need structure, especially when the yarn is going to be so loose. Like I plan on knitting this on like 5 millimeters, which I think is like a US 8, and it's a fingering weight yarn. And I would say onion yarns in general are light on the scale. So if it's fingering weight, it's a light fingering. If it's DK weight, it's maybe a sport. So it's going to be a seamed piece. I'm not going to release a pattern for it, but I might walk you through my design process. Super easy. I'm going to make it fun and quick. And yeah, so we'll make a sweater together with this onion nettle sock yarn. And then I think, okay, so that's it for the projects that are like I've bought yarn for in my stash in terms of like lurking in my stash. And let's go to things that I need your help with. I have 10 skeins, well not, I think 9 now, of West Wool Tandem, which is a DK weight yarn. I bought this originally because Stephen and Penelope were getting rid of their old stock of the Tandem and their bicycle because they had a new formula, they were coming out with new colors, all of that stuff. So I bought that up. It was like €5 maybe per skein, 100 grams. So it was like really, really affordable, and I really wanted it. And I wanted it for, here we go again, the Jimmy Does Diamonds sweater. So I still think that the sweater would look beautiful in yellow. Like, Megan Bevan, if you're watching this from Hudson and West, let's do a collab. I'll knit the first one out of the cascade to see if I can even figure it out, and then like get me some like Jimmy Does Diamond sweater in Forge in like a mustardy color. We'll see what happens with that pattern, but it's going to be beautiful. Anyway, so I bought the stuff to do the pattern to make the Jimmy Does Diamonds pattern with the yarn, and then I hated it because it's a DK weight yarn, which means you have to knit it on like 4mm needles. Instead of doing a swatch, I made the DK weight version of the cowl, and I'm going to be honest, it's not my favorite stitch yarn weight combination. Like, it needs to be a thicker yarn weight in order to, like, with all those twisted stitches, it's just so hard on your hands if you do a DK weight. I'm not gonna lie about that. I really think that it's not the best. So I wanted to make sure that it was a worsted weight, if not heavier, but we'll go worsted weight yarn for that pattern. But I mean, like, you can look on the inside. It's like, it's squishy because there's like almost a double layer because everything's being crossed. And it's gonna be a nice warm sweater, but like on a DK weight, that wasn't gonna happen. So that's like scrap, like swatching yarn for now, but I have a sweater's quantity. So if anybody has any ideas of like designs that I could either make or knit with a sweater's quantity of yellow yarn, happy to hear it. Yeah. Let's get into some cones. How about that? Let's do cones next. Next we have woolly knit cones. I have 2 that I have left over. This one is their British Aran tweed. This is their British Aran weight cone. It's in the color Rest Tan. I did my Poldo hoodie test in this, and I used 2 and a bit cones. And so I think if I order another one of these, then I have enough to do like a regular sweater, because that one was quite big. So if I buy another one of these, I have a worsted weight sweater that I can make from the 2 of them. And I need to figure out what that would be. This is not my color, so it would definitely be for somebody else. But I think that to use this, if I buy one more cone, I think that would get that out of my stash and it would be perfect. This next one is, I'm obsessed with this and I don't know what to use it with. This is their Zest color. This is their British fingering weight 4-ply. I don't know the names of their cones, but it's like a fingering weight. It's the British wool. It's not the merino. It's Zest yellow. And I love this color. I think that this would go well in like maybe like a shawl or something that like is mostly white and then has this. As a matter of fact, let's get into this. So my Woven Warmth shawl that I have on, I showed this on my last podcast. It's this. It's like a ton of different whole super soft and neutrals and yellows. And what I was thinking maybe to use up part of that was like the FrostFang shawl scarf by Les Garcons. And then just like the main color be the ecru cone that I have. I have a ton of this. I also have some like bleached white, which I think is basically the same color. I know they're slightly different, but they're really the same. And then like the main pops of yellow, and then I could use the rest of the like highlight colors as like the little zigzag accents in it. Hopefully I've showed a picture of this by now so you can tell what I'm talking about, but like the small triangles would be this, like the main color of the triangles would be this, and then just like pops of color of like this yellow, or not that one, that's the beige, or like this yellow, or maybe even a black. I'm not really quite sure. I have a lot of whole super soft in my collection in my stash, so if I could use like these 2 cones plus like miscellaneous whole super soft, I think the FrostFang FrostFang scarf would be nice of it. So maybe that's one option. But I still have a sweater's quantity worth of this, and I'm like not really quite sure what to do with this. I think it would actually make quite a nice Troy boy, but it could also be like a nice summer knit of some sort. It is 100% wool. I'm not opposed to wool 100% summer. I don't know. We'll see. Suggestions for how to use this obnoxious color that I absolutely love, please let me know. Let me know. Next. Ooh. We have this yarn. This is not my typical yarn. This is Scheepjes Truly Scrumptious. Yes, I said that correctly because it's Dutch. It means little sheep. So yeah, Scheepjes Truly Scrumptious. It's made with recycled plastic bottles. I'm not a big plastic yarn, but I bought this for the Korschbahn sweater for my nephew. I think he's like slightly ginger, and so I thought like this dark green would look nice on him, but I didn't pay much attention to the weight of the yarn, and this is a bit Aran, and that sweater pattern really needed a worsted weight, let's say. So I have this green plastic yarn. Oh, I know what I was going to make with it because I ordered it and like the post here is not great. So I ordered it, took 3 weeks, didn't come. And then I was like, they said they delivered, but then they didn't deliver. And like 3 days later, I still don't have the delivery. So I wrote the company and they're like, I was like, I just never got your delivery, PostNL sucks. What are you going to do about it? And they're like, cool, we'll send you some more. So I have like an adult sweaters-ish quantity of this. And what I think I'm going to do with this is maybe make like a mandala blanket. Like I want an elaborately crocheted mandala blanket. And I think that this might be good for it. And then next time somebody I know has a baby, they get this like really fancy crochet green blanket. I think that that's what we're going to do with it. Maybe not. The only thing that I am hesitant about is lately I've been knitting so much that I have a little bit of like RSI. And so when I crochet, it's actually like worse. My crochet technique must be absolutely terrible, but like crochet really bothers me these days, but like knitting doesn't, and I have to do all my stretches and do other things and like massage my arm when I'm just like sitting in public and stuff, so I just like the tendons don't seize up and stuff. But like it's not painful, but like if I don't take care of it, it's going to be a problem. Anyway, so the Scheepjes is probably going to be a crochet mandala blanket. We'll see. How many of these do I have? Let me check my stash. I think I have like 8 of these. 7, 8 of these, and it's like, how much is it? It's 50% recycled acrylic, 50% polyester. Does it say how long this is? No. I have no idea how many yards are in this. Oh, 108 meters. I don't know, so like 800 meters of this? Anyway, that is that. Next, the original Gaca scarf called for this Manchalopi yarn, and I have 3 plates plus this left over, and the plates are like this big. So I bought a sweater's quantity and then probably some more for the Obba sweater that I knit for my mom, but this is unspun. It was hard to do in color work, and then also like my mom has very sensitive skin. She can tolerate the alpaca that I ended up using, but like an unspun that was like mostly unspun touching her skin, I was thinking that wasn't going to be it, and it was just a pain in the butt. So I have like a ton of this stuff. I knit 1 Gaca scarf out of this, and it took 1, and then this is the leftover of a second plate of the Manchalopi. And I don't know what to knit with the Manchalopi. I could knit like maybe 2 more scarves out of this thing, but I don't want to knit the same scarf 85,000 times. 5 would be fine. So I have probably like a female garment quantity worth of this Manchalopi, and it's really nice. I like working with it, but I have no idea what to do with it. This is the color Azul, and I got this from the Retro Rosaria Rosa Pumar website. So this is just a yarn that they carry because they're also a yarn store. By the way, go buy their yarns. They're a wonderful company. Their yarns are wonderful. I like what they're doing, all of it. So I have this. I have a lot of this, and I don't know what to do with it. So please help me out. It doesn't have to be a garment. It could be something else, but it's also unspun. So like, I don't know what to do with it. I don't know what to do with it. So next one is a culmination of a bunch of things that I've discussed about. I don't like mohair, so I've been trying to experiment. And this is from that yarn store that was closing. This was definitely not on sale. This is not mohair. It's Seta Suri by Lana Grossa. It's like Suri, it's alpaca, it's not mohair. I'm hoping that like this would be a good substitution. Do you see this? For mohair, it looks similar. I think it has a nice like fluff to it. And I know that I can tolerate alpaca. I like that a lot more. So I bought a sweater's quantity worth of this. There's one that's a different dye lot. And by a sweater's quantity, I mean enough to hold this with something else. And what I'm thinking is more holst. I have a ton of holst. Most of it's left over, but I have a ton of holst. And I have like a black cone at all times on me. I know one of these can make like 2.5 sweaters for me. So I'm thinking of holding these two together. I've done a mohair holst sweater before, and actually I quite like it. But without mohair, I can do this. So I have a sweater's quantity of a fingering weight plus mohair substitute. This is a lace weight that I can hold double. I don't know what I want to do with it. Like, a part of me wants to make another Guernsey, but also, does it need to be plain? Or like, I don't know what to do with this combination. I like a little bit of texture, but I realize that this is like even more fluffy than a mohair typically. And so like that will obscure a lot of things. So it needs to either have like a big gesture or be like super plain. I'm not against plain. I just find it a little bit boring. But if I can get these out of my stash and then this knit up and used a little bit, I think that would be good. I think that would be a good combination. Yeah. So, right, let me know what you think I should make this. This is definitely a sweater. This is definitely going to be a sweater. But other than that, I don't know. I'm open to your ideas. Hit me up. Sorry for all the cuts. The yarn is everywhere. There's so much yarn around me right now that I need to like get up and get it, just because I can't grab it from the seat. We have one more thing to discuss, and then we're done. So I went to Draad, which is a Dutch knitting festival. It was in Zeist. I don't know. I forgot where it was, but it was late last year, and a lot of it was just like, I don't know, fingering weight, hand-dyed yarn or whatever. But there was this one like cart, like a wooden cart in the corner, and it had this. So this, it had a bunch of undyed yarns. I think a lot of them were superwash. I think this might be superwash, even though it didn't say on the tag superwash. But I got like a BFL Sport, which I used in my Paragon. Go check that out in my Intarsia era video. It's phenomenal. And then I have this. So this is a fingering weight like merino tweed. So the actual merino's undyed, but like the tweed neps are viscose and they're of a color. This is from the Draad Kracht, and they have a bunch of stuff like this. They have different bases. Last time I looked on the website, they had different stuff than I saw in the exhibition on the cart. And then like they didn't have this with the colored neps, but they had it with the plain merino neps. Anyway, they had like camel and yak and stuff. It's really interesting stuff. So if you're in continental Europe, like check them out. I really think that they have like super interesting yarns. Aside from sweater quantity of black yarn, I'm buying things like this, which are like undyed specialty yarns, stuff that I can't get like freely or available. When I see it in a store, I'm not like searching for like on sale quantities of black yarn. Although, if you know about those, please let me know, because I need that. Anyway, so this is a fingering weight yarn, and I bought a sweater's quantity. So I have 4 skeins of this. Literally, it came in this bag, and there's like a sticker to tell me the information of it. It's like very mom and pop, and it's very like countryside Dutch. But this one is 85% merino, 50% viscose, and then 400 millimeters. It's like a really standard. It's a really standard fingering weight. So I can make a sweater out of this for myself. And I was thinking either I could do like a color work where this would be the accent, or I could just make a sweater. I don't wear white. I don't wear white, but like I do have a favorite stitch pattern, and I think this in that stitch pattern in like a pieced sweater might look really good. It might look really nice. And I would have one sweater that's not black, but I'm also not fully sold. This is really soft. I'm really enjoying putting this to my face. This is really nice yarn. And it's really special yarn. And I don't know. I need to know like what fingering weight sweater. This might be a design. This might be I designed something with this yarn. Whether or not it's published is a different story. But like making a custom garment out of this yarn, I think that might be it. So this is the last one I have, and I have a sweater's quantity of this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful yarn. And yeah, so please, thank you. First of all, thank you for listening to me ramble for a half hour. Please like, subscribe. I want to know your ideas. What do you think I should do with my yarn? Do you have suggestions? I'm always interested in what other people are like knitting, or the patterns that they think are really cool, and like, you know, like post some Ravelry links down below. Or if you think that I should knit something different that doesn't exist, then also let me know, because I have some ideas. It's just like I'm not sold that any of these yarns are the right fit or anything, but I'm very curious to what you have to say. So like the title I set out, like I really mean it. Anyway, I hope you all are well, that you survived this winter of craziness, and that you are being kind to yourself, and that you are being kind to others. And I will see you in the next video. I'll talk to you later. Goodbye.